another edition of Pat Chat with your host, Joe Snyder.
Hey, thanks for popping in on the Pats. I'm Joe Snyder, sitting alongside Lincoln Way Patriots head football coach Steve Strimmel. And Coach, thanks for joining us on our first edition of Pat Chat. And as we sit right now, your squad is 3-1 in the Mid-States Football League in the Hoosier Division, coming off a tough loss versus the Leyden Lions.
Well, first of all, thanks for having us out here and or you guys coming out. And yeah, it was a tough game. It was a tough loss, even a tougher game. Leyden is a very good team. They're very well coached. But you know, in my opinion, we didn't play up to our capabilities. You know, we didn't execute well. We didn't tackle well in the first half, and you know, it showed. And you know, we still have a long way to go. You know.
Now, Coach, your son Mike is the quarterback. Your son Steve is one of the running backs. You have another son, Joe, that's a wide receiver, and Jim, who's a coach on the defensive line and special teams. Not to mention your wife, the defensive coordinator.
Oh,
just kidding.
Yeah, Silvio would be upset about that.
Right. What we're trying to really say here is that this is kind of a family venture, a family affair with a team-first philosophy.
Yes, it's definitely team first, and you know, all the family being involved. It wasn't really the plan originally. It was pretty much just Steve, and I was just helping him, you know, find people and try to organize it. And things kind of snowballed, and then you know, Mike came out, and then Joe came out, and you know, I started coaching, and I talked Jim into coming out. We got a lot of good coaches out here. Silvio and Lester, Dan, Andre, Tony Nichols. They're all, Jim's smarter than me, the rest of them are all smarter than me, so it's good to have them all around.
Well, you're smart for being on Pat Chat, you know, to kicking it off. Absolutely. How do you feel, though, that, you know, right now that this offense is performing? Are you happy with what they've been doing?
We're inconsistent, you know. You know, at times I'm ecstatic. I hope I pronounced that right, but you know, at times I'm beside myself because I know how good we can be and how good we are at times. You know, we run plays where it's perfect. It's out of a book. You know, we'll run the same play 5 minutes later. It looks like we never played football before. So it's, you know, we're still inconsistent, but you know, we're getting better, and we have a lot of room to improve. And if we start ever playing consistently to our capabilities, I won't have to do nothing. I can just sit and watch, you know.
Look pretty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll never happen.
Handsome. I think that's the more appropriate word. Yeah. A lot of times, Coach, when you talk about offense, you know, we mentioned Mike, we mentioned Steve, and, you know, Nate McCullum's a fine receiver for you guys. We forget a little bit about the offensive line. We spoke after the game on Saturday. You said you have one of the best right tackles in the league. And can you talk about him, talk about your offensive line and your ground game?
Well, yeah, first off, Gary Young is he's the best offensive lineman I've seen this year. I mean, I haven't seen all of them. You can't see anybody being better than him. He makes our whole offensive line better. You know, J.P. Carroll at right guard, Dominic Angeloni's a center, Jerome left tackle, and we got an old guy named Hank playing left tackle, and he's helped all of them out. And you know, you know, Andre is the offensive line coach, but and he does them guys a world of good. But it doesn't hurt to have another coach on the field, and that's what Gary is, and you know, he's an outstanding player too.
Now, up until this past game against the Lions, your defense has shut everybody down. The Chicago Mustangs, the Racine Threat, the Indy Stampede. You guys were able to just basically say, sorry, no offense happening here tonight. Talk about the big boys up front, you know, stuffing the run, and the guys preventing the big bombs.
Well, our big boys up front really, they're not all that big. They're just very active. Kevin Grishus, Abel, you know, they get a lot of playing time up there in the middle, and just very active, and they're hard to get, hard for the linemen to get their hands on. Eddie Riley's a big man. Eddie struggles with being in for more than 3 or 4 plays, but and our defensive ends put a lot of pressure. Carl Grant, Troy Livingston, Andrew Short, Joe Delamano, they just hustle and they bring a lot of pressure, and the guys all play their positions well. Defensive backs have been probably one of our strong points this year. We got 2 corners they're probably shutdown guys. Marzell and Will's playing free safety mostly. William Bills, Robert Nichols another corner, Ryan Levereau, 2 other defensive backs that are doing a great job for us, and it's hard to get them all playing time. They're all that good.
Well, that's a beautiful luxury to have, in football. Another luxury that you have is your special teams. You have 2 outstanding return guys and 3 dependable kickers.
Yeah, and actually we just put a couple more guys on the roster who are return guys, and they're probably as good as the guys we got. A couple weeks ago, we put another guy on that actually had the highest. He was with us last year, and he had the best average for us on returns. And Marzell and William Bills have been, leading the charge at that this year, and we're just so deep at receiver, it's ridiculous.
They're both lightning quick.
Men.
They're lightning quick.
We're just so deep at return men, it's ridiculous. And we got 3 kickers, and any team in the league would like to have any one of them. They're all real good, and again, it's hard to keep them busy. So.
Absolutely. The rest of the schedule kind of is a little bit on the ridiculous side. 4 more games left, 3 on the road. This is where they're going to see how tough, how mentally tough the Lincoln Way Patriots are.
Well, I don't think traveling. We traveled pretty well. Last year, and we traveled pretty well this year so far. The big game is going to be down in Peoria against the Mid-State Steel. We win that one, we're in the playoffs. And not that we're going to sit back, but that's the one we're focused on the most. And then we come home and play the Thunder, which has been the best team in this league for 100 years, I guess. And then we go up to Racine, and I guess it's like going to play the Raiders out in Los Angeles. I guess they throw. They throw stuff at you.
They have their own black hole.
Yeah. And I hear it's a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
I guess they're actually nice people. They just, they just like to have their own fun too. And it's a good team. Don't want to take anything away from the team. It's actually historically one of the best teams at this level in the country, and I think they've been in operation 50 years.
That's a solid history.
It's a heck of an organization. But we're looking forward to it. We do this because we like it. So.
Well, thanks, Coach, for taking time out of your busy practice schedule and joining us on our first edition of Pat Chat. Make sure you join us on our next edition of Pat Chat, where we'll have Lincoln Way Patriots General Manager John Bush. For head coach Steve Strimmel, I'm Joe Snyder. Keep cheering on the Pats.